All right, it says I'm live. Let's see if some more people chime into this one. This stupid YouTube thing. I suck at doing these live streams because I never do them. And that last one that I had scheduled for 6 o'clock, I go to sign in on it. And I talk a little bit and I can start hearing it echoing. It's repeating my words over and over and over again down there. And I don't know what the heck was wrong with it. But I couldn't get it to stop, so I figured, what the heck, we'll just sign out and we'll create a new one right fast. And hopefully some more people will jump on this one. Looks like people are finding it here. For all you people that are getting in here now, I apologize. I don't know what was wrong with the last one there, but this one right now, so far anyway, seems like the audio's okay. It's not doing that repeating echo thing. So anyway, I'll give it another minute or so, let everybody get piled on, and then kind of talk about what this live stream's about. So if you're watching this after the fact, go ahead and skip forward about a minute or so. That's how these live streams go. They always waste time here in the first minute or two. But good golly, there's already 172 people on this one. This says if you have your phone volume on, it will be picked up. Well, I don't know how to turn my phone volume off. Turn it down, maybe? I don't know. We'll learn as we go. For those of you who are good at this live stream stuff while we wait, if you could figure out a way to keep these comments from scrolling. I've had this problem before. The comments scroll so fast, by the time I get done answering one question, I'm 20 comments deep and I got to go back and find where I left off. So if you can figure that out for me, that would be awesome. But anyway, what this live stream is about. So those of you who've been with me for a while, you know, this channel has kind of blown up. I mean, I have gotten just a ton of growth here in the last year or so. And that's great for me personally. It's certainly great for me financially. I mean, who could ever think you'd be making money just from going fishing and doing your thing, right? But along with that also comes some problems. And one of those problems is trying to come up with a balance and figure out how I can continue to be social on social media, because my personal policy always was, and this ain't a business strategy, I felt like it was a courteous thing to do. If somebody watched my video and they left a comment, I should respond to that, whether it just be to say, thank you for watching the video, or I appreciate the comment, or answer whatever question you had. And that was just my personal policy on it. And that was fine in the beginning when this channel wasn't getting any views and wasn't getting many comments. But over time, this thing has grown. And once we got to about 250,000 views a month, the number of comments coming in was overwhelming. And it got to a point where I was just, getting to a point where I was spending more time answering comments than I was actually editing videos. And the last couple months, I've been getting over 1 million views a month, and it's just several thousand comments a month. And it just got to the point where that policy of responding to everyone individually just wasn't sustainable. So what I want to do, because I don't want to lose contact, some of you all have been with me from the very beginning. You're the first to watch a video, you're the first to comment, you always have something positive and uplifting to say, which, let's be real, in the YouTube comment box, that ain't always something that happens. There's a lot of negativity down there. So I appreciate y'all, and I want to find a way to still be able to interact. So what I thought I would do is just periodically come on here and do some live streams. And that way we can interact with each other in real time and have kind of a, what I hope will be a more personal experience for both of us. And hopefully it'll be more meaningful than me just responding with a thank you and, something like that. So we'll see how it goes. As far as these live streams, they're really not my thing. I'm not very good at these live streams. So I don't know how often I'll do them. I don't know what the demand will be for them, but I don't know if that's once every 3 months, 6 months, whatever. But we'll get on here periodically and just have a chat and allow me to answer some questions that some of you may have. And so that's pretty much it, guys. And let me see this here. Let me see if I can click on this. Somebody gave me money. We got a super chat donation. How the heck do I click on this thing? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going to be fumbling my way through this. So let me go up here to the comments and start scrolling. My God, there's a bunch of comments. Everybody's saying hey up here. Hello to everybody. Somebody's giving me money, and that person's definitely getting a shout out here for sure. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Shelby Tubbs says, you're my favorite. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Shelby. I appreciate the donation there. That means a lot to me. Here comes another one. Havoc Master 69. Thank you very much for the donation. Y'all, listen, times are hard right now with this COVID stuff. Everybody's unemployed. Please don't feel like you have to give me any money on here. I appreciate it, but it's definitely not needed. And I don't want people thinking that you just have to give me money. I'd rather you keep that money for yourself and buy yourself something with it. But I do appreciate the donations. Here's another one from Palmetto Cats, $4.99. Thank you for doing what you do. Well, thank you, Palmetto Cats. He's got a Palmetto Cats does a podcast, y'all. If you want to check that out, I wish I had time to jump on that thing. So let me get back up here. These comments are scrolling. I'm sure somebody's told me how to fix that, and I don't know how. Here's the part of the live stream that sucks where I'm having to go through, and y'all are watching me, watching you on the comments. Here's Bluegrass Fishing's got a question. Hello from Kentucky. What are some of the must-have accessories you recommend for kayaks? Well, if you're going to be anchor fishing, an anchor trolley is a must, in my opinion. That's one of those safety things. You definitely need a PFD on at all times. I know a lot of people coming from the boating world over don't want to wear life jackets, but that's the one thing that'll save your life if something goes bad, which could happen out there. Let's be real. It could very well happen that you have an accident. Other must-have accessories, really that's about it. PFD and anchor trolley if you're going to be anchor fishing. If you're going to be drifting, you obviously need a graph of some kind. Don't have to be an expensive model, a real fancy one, but you do need something that can show you the depth so that you can raise and lower your lines. But really beyond that, I mean, catfishing's a pretty simple thing. You don't need a whole lot of gear, which is why I like it. It's a very simple thing. Some stout rods, some reels, line, hooks, and some bait, and you're good to go. Gosh, I got a bunch of people saying hello. I wish I could go through and say hello to each individual person, but there's about 6,000 comments already. Gosh, where am I at here? Kelly McCoy says, finally working. Well, good. I'm glad to know the audio is working on your end. Here's another person that gave me money, Eric Burris. Thanks for the amazing content. You inspired me to go get my first kayak and set a goal of a 30-pounder. Keep it up. Well, thank you, Eric, and I hope you get that 30-pounder. I hope it happens for you. You keep at it, and it probably will. Now, where do I leave off on these comments here? Sorry, guys. I'm scrolling back up to the top here. I clicked on the super chat, and I lost my place. This is going to be terrible. I promise I'll get better at these live streams, y'all. It'll happen. Ricky Smith says, hey, man, I met a guy in a kayak this weekend that was sitting waiting for the bite to pick up and watching your videos. Well, that's awesome, man. I hope the bite eventually picked up for him. Tim Gossett says, is the 50 you caught recently your personal best? No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, I don't weigh them, so there's no way to know for sure. But I think the one I got in October, that one that's titled Holy Catfish, that video, I'm pretty sure that's my biggest ever. That fish, I don't know about it lengthwise, but definitely weight-wise, I think that was probably my biggest. Jimmy Johnson, the greatest thing about catfish. Well, living here where I do in East Tennessee, they're the biggest fish we got. If I live somewhere else, if I was down in Texas, I'd probably fish for alligator gar. If I was on the coast, well, I'd probably, fish for sharks or, some big saltwater fish. But here in East Tennessee, they're the biggest fish we got, so that's what I go after. Here comes another one. Chunky Cats Fishing, $9.99. Man, you are awesome. So I started painting my fishing weights after watching one of your videos. Also, do you have a P.O. box? Well, Chunky Cats, I saw that video you did of, thank you for the donation, by the way. I saw that video where you were painting your weights, and I did that kind of just as an attention getter. It wasn't anything for the fish. The fish don't care what color your sinkers are, especially deep as I fish. I mean, when you're down 40, 50 feet deep, there ain't enough light penetration down there for them to be able to see color. But I thought I'll paint me some sinkers for my videos there, and it'll just get some attention of the audience, and it'll get more comments and boost my engagement, and it definitely did. As far as my P.O. box, I do have a P.O. box, but I hate to post it on here publicly. So if you want to reach out to me privately, I'll certainly give it to you. But you post something like that publicly, and everybody's going to be sending you stuff, and then I've got to go to the post office every day, and that's just another hassle and inconvenience for me. I hate going to the post office. Here comes another one, $7.99, Alan Stinson. Hey, buddy, glad to see your channel doing good. Thanks for help. Well, thank you, Alan. I appreciate you. I mean, I appreciate the donation, and it means a lot, man. Here's another one. John Drummond, $20. Heck yeah, I'm eating good tonight, y'all. He says, thanks for all the videos. Been watching for a year solid. Comedy with knowledge of fishing and a lot of fish action. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate the donation, and I try to make my videos action-packed. You know, I see a lot of fishing videos, and I don't watch a whole lot of YouTube. But when I do, I see a lot of talking and not a lot of fish catching. And I feel like if you're going to have a fishing channel, the one thing you got to do is catch fish. Otherwise, what the hell's the point? People are tuning in on YouTube to learn how to catch fish. So when you're going out there, I feel like not only do you need to catch fish, but you need to talk about how you're catching them, why the fish are where they are, why you're doing what you're doing, and give people that knowledge. Give people more than just watching you reel in fish. Because really, unless you're blonde and got tits and a nice butt, people ain't going to just watch you reel in fish after fish after fish. You got to offer them something more. So I try to do that in my videos. Good God Almighty, y'all. There's so many comments. I'd hope to create this personal interaction with everybody, but there's no way I'm going to get to all these comments, y'all. I apologize. I just saw one pop up that said slow mode. I wonder how I turn that on. Let me click a button here. No, that didn't do it. Top chat. I'm going to research this more before the next one, I promise. Hold your finger on the message that you showed. Okay. No. All right. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let's just proceed where we were here. Let me find some more questions here. Jonathan Langley says, what's your favorite part of the Tennessee River to fish? Well, I live near Knoxville, so I've got easy access to Fort Loudon and Watts Bar. I'd say my favorite's probably Watts Bar. I think the fishing is better as far as quality of fish on Fort Loudon than Watts Bar, but boat traffic's less on Watts Bar. So that's why I kind of prefer going there, especially if I'm fishing in the afternoons or on weekends. You don't want to go on the afternoons or weekends on Fort Loudon. It is Pleasure Boat Central. How do I think I messed up the comment box again, y'all. Here's another super chat, though. Austin McInnavale, I'm butchering your name. I know I am. I'm sorry. Says, love watching your videos, man. Have learned a lot about how to fish different structure and to give spots more time. Well, I'm glad it's worked out for you, Austin, and thank you for watching. I'll tell you, last year, 2019, I spent basically my entire trip, whatever time I had out there, on one spot. And I tried to put myself in situations where it would be a spot that I thought fish would either congregate on or fish would move through. And it was just a year-long experiment to see how it would work out to my old strategy, which has just always been stick and move, man. Just go, cover water, try to put my baits in front of as many active fish as possible. I wanted to see the difference. And I'll tell you what, last year was the best year of fishing I've ever had. By far. Nothing else even comes close. I caught more big fish last year than in any year. And I broke my personal best blue twice last year. So I'm a huge believer in it. Now, the one part of the year that didn't really work out for that strategy was this time of year right now, the summer months, that kind of from spawn really through post-spawn, like, June, July, August, September. Those months where typically I do really well for both numbers and big fish. Last year, I didn't do worth a crap. I didn't get as many fish and I didn't get as many big fish. So I think during these summer months, it's best to drift and cover water, do my old strategy, keep your baits on good structure and keep moving. But the rest of the year, the other 8-9 months, I think sitting on one spot and just grinding it out, just waiting on those fish to get active and come to you, I think that's the way to go for big fish. Let's see, what we got here. Angling Aviator gave me $10. Says, I appreciate what you do. The filming gets in the way of fishing for me. I don't have the dedication, so guys like you that put in the work make YouTube enjoyable. Well, thank you, Angling Aviator. I say it is a hassle to do this filming while you're out there on the water. There's a lot of times where I just don't want to talk to the camera, and there's even more times where I get home and I thought, man, I don't want to do 2 hours of editing a video today. But it's worthwhile for me. I enjoy it, and gosh, just from a financial standpoint, I would have never dreamed it would be possible from some, redneck nobody like me that just likes to go catfishing in a kayak to get this kind of money from YouTube. It's just, it's been a real blessing for me. I'll tell you that. And there was another one that popped up here. Let me click on this. Brian Burton. Appreciate your family-friendly format, action even my youngest can watch and get excited about. God's blessings. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate the donation. And I do try to keep it family-friendly. If I get my words out. Family-friendly on here as best I can. Things like Facebook, I'll get a little bit more PG or rated R just because kids aren't supposed to be on there. It's supposed to be age 13 and up. So I'll be more of my... I don't know what the word is, more of myself on there, I guess you will, on like Facebook. But on these YouTube videos where literally anybody of any age can be watching, I do try to keep it G-rated. Just because I know people like to watch with their families and stuff like that. Here is another one, Derek Stein. I love your channel, dude. Need to go live more often. Well, thank you, Derek. Thank you for the donation. And I appreciate you watching these live streams. They are a challenge for sure for me. I like to have the ability to edit myself in case I slip up and say something stupid. Here's old Panfish Billy. It's Fishing with Billy now. He gave me $10. He says, I will admit I have learned from you too. You have done amazing things with your channel. Now to trick you into fishing with me again, as long as you don't fall on the ramp again. Yeah, me and Billy, we fished together a couple times. And the first time we were out there together, we were down there at Lab Landing in Kingston. And that was back when Billy had that old 10-foot kayak that wasn't worth a crap. I just knew he was going to flip and roll that thing. And we went down there, and we didn't get to fish very long because the storms come in on us. But that ramp was slick as lightning, and I fell and busted my hind end on that thing. I wish one of us would have had a camera going on that thing. We would have... we'd probably made some money on a blooper video on that one. But thank you, Billy. I appreciate you donating that money to me. Now, here's another one. Clint Seeger, $50. Says, keep up the great work, Justin. Man, Clint, I appreciate that. I wish you hadn't have done that, man. That's a lot of money. But I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, Clint. That means a lot to me. Richard Spangenberg. I'm butchering your name, too. I apologize. Have you ever thought about going to a different place to fish, like a different state? Well, Richard, thank you for the donation. Yes, I do think about it, but, finances, getting money for a vacation to go somewhere and fish, and that's always the hassle with that. I did go to South Carolina last year for a tournament, which was a good trip, and I'd like to get back over there, but my thing with traveling really is, while it would be nice to fish other places, I travel for my job, my real world job. So when I'm on contract at work, I'm out of town a lot. And so when I'm home, I like to just be home. And I've got such good fishing here within a 15-minute drive of my house. It's hard to get motivated to go other places. But, in fantasy world, I would like to go other places, and I need to. But I don't do it very often, to be honest with you. Let me find that other person here. Ghost Squad Fishing. Hey, bud, I love your videos, and you're my #1 inspiration. I love everything you do, and I hope to be as good as you. Well, thank you for the donation, Ghost Squad Fishing, and, man, you just keep swinging. Get out there and put your baits in the water and keep doing your thing, and those bites will come. You will get there. I can't believe it's Clint Seeger, man, $50. Thank you so much, man. That is very generous of you. Here's another one, Mason. Have you ever fished in Michigan for cats? Mason, thank you for the donation. No, I've never even been to Michigan. I had hoped to get up to Michigan at some point because my friend Frank Kajenka, he's got a YouTube channel, Brats and Mustard. And he was the one that kind of put me on the Gulp minnows for my ultralight fishing. I would love to get up there and fish with him at some point, because he is an excellent ultralight fisherman. You know, Randy Gold with YouTube channel Trout Magnet Man, he has that twitching technique that I have caught a ton of fish on. I have used that twitching technique so much and caught so many fish. But Randy uses the trout magnets, and I took his technique with the gulp minnows that Frank Kajenka put me on. And man, when I go ultralight fishing, there ain't a day ever that I get skunked using that combination. And so those two guys have done a lot for me in the ultralight fishing world. And so I'd love to get up there to Michigan and fish with Frank at some point in time. And Mason, I don't know why, but your donation didn't pop up at the top for some reason. I don't know why that is. I'm wondering if I ain't missed some other people's that ain't. I definitely, if you're giving me money, by gosh, I definitely want to make sure that your comment gets noticed. But for some reason, it didn't pop up on the top of my screen. If somebody's given me a donation and I haven't shouted you out, I am extremely sorry. I don't know why some people's aren't going to the top of my screen. I'm going to find the next one, though. I know there's another one here. TJ Little. Any thoughts of doing YouTube full-time? Well, TJ, thank you for the donation. As far as doing YouTube full-time, no, this is just a hobby for me. It's turned into a very profitable hobby, but just a hobby. I don't trust YouTube. I guess I'm too old. You know, I'm from that generation. This whole making money on the internet is still new to me. And so, you know, I've got a real world career. And so I'm fortunate with my real world job that I have a lot of time off. I do contract work, so I'm able to kind of schedule myself. And, you know, really for the last few years, I spent my 20s, and I'll go on a little, nobody will want to hear this, but I'll talk about it anyway. I spent my 20s basically just worked my tail off and paid off everything, my student loans, my house, my car, everything. So I got to a point at age 32, I was like, I hate my job. You know, I hate going into work. I hate the rat race. Just, you know, that whole, you know, just living your life to work. I hate that. And I wanted to take time off and just live. So doing contract work like I do, I just started taking time off. And so I'd start working more during the winter months when it's cold and taking the summer months, the warmer months off. And so I've been doing that the last few years, and man, I love it. Just living my best life, you know. So this YouTube money definitely helps out since I'm not working year-round anymore. But I don't want to rely on it because it can be gone in the blink of an eye, man. Something go wrong with your channel, you get blocked for whatever reason. There's another YouTube, what they call it, the Admageddon there a few years ago, where the sponsors pulled their ads off YouTube, and next thing you know, your money's just gone on there. So I don't want to rely on this as a job, certainly. Gosh, I'm way behind on comments again here, y'all. Let me see here. Let me see where I left off. Somebody's left more money here. Let me get down to that one. Well, 22 Plinkster, $20. Heck yeah, man. You're awesome. Says, you put me on a big catfish, I'll teach you how to bass fish. Deal. That's a deal, man. I don't know if I can follow through on my end. I have a knack for getting people skunked when I take them catfishing. But me and 22 Plinkster, we're definitely going to get out there and fish together. He is, you know, his channel, those of you who are familiar with YouTube, you already know who 22 Plinkster is. He's got a huge channel, does some amazing trick shots on there, just an amazing shooter in general. And me and him have been chatting. We're going to try to get together and fish if we can get our schedules aligned and get through all this virus pandemic stuff. But I'm definitely looking forward to fishing with you, Dave. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time when we finally get together. And I can definitely use your bass fishing tips. That's for sure. I suck at bass fishing. Wyatt Nagel, I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, says, what is a prime bait for channel cats? Never caught any cat species. Well, Wyatt, my experience, and thank you for the donation, my experience with channel cats are they will hit anything. I mean, absolutely anything from your normal, like fresh fish baits that you would use, your bluegill or shad, you know, whatever bait fish you have in your water. They'll certainly eat those. They'll eat things like store-bought baits like your chicken breast, chicken livers, some of the other commercially produced baits, they'll eat those. I haven't found a bait that a channel cat won't eat. They're kind of just, they're one of the easiest fish to catch in my opinion. Now here in Tennessee, we don't have a lot of them. The ones we do are really small. The blues and flatheads kind of dominate our catfish population here. So I think that keeps the size of our channel cats small here. But your places out west, really and truly, you'd be better asking that question out west or up north, places where you got larger channel cats. They'll be able to tell you what the best baits are for those trophy-sized channel cats. But thank you again for the donation. Here's one from Deanna Phillips, and thank you, Deanna. I appreciate the donation, and Deanna's one that's been with me for a long time. She comments all the time on my videos and is always one of the first people to watch, so thank you, Deanna. She says, I always love your videos. I've learned so much from you. Keep it up. Also, are you married? No, I'm not married. I have a girlfriend who's thankfully very understanding of my want to go fishing all the time. She, she's got a normal 40-hour-a-week job, so I'll do a lot of my fishing while she's at work. And then the weekends, I don't typically fish on the weekends, so that allows us to do stuff on our weekend time. But no, I get that question a lot. Am I married? Nobody can think a woman would put up with me. And I don't know that any of them would want to marry me, but I do have a girlfriend. Let's see where else we're at here on these comments. Dan Orr gave me a donation. Didn't leave a comment, but thank you, Dan. I appreciate your donation there. So I thank y'all. I think I have caught up here with the donations. So now let me scroll back up here and start knocking out some questions. I appreciate you all with these donations. It means a lot to me. Again, I don't want anybody to think that you have to donate money to me. I don't want you to think that at all. I'd rather you spend that money on yourself and buy yourself something nice. But I do appreciate these donations. Katie Hartman, 44. What didn't you like about the new canoe Frontier 12? Just bought one a couple months ago. Honestly, I never took the new canoe Frontier 12 that I got out in the water. I won that as a tournament prize, so I never put it in the water. I had a new canoe Pursuit a couple years ago that I had bought used and put that bow mount motor on, and that kayak was just poor quality. The plastic was really thin, the floors warped, the hatch leaked, the plastic gear tracks were kind of off kilter as far as the seat. The 360 seat wouldn't spin 360. I could go on and on. It was the worst kayak I've ever owned. So I didn't have a lot of confidence in New Canoe after that, and I didn't really. I had contacted them and kind of got blown off and didn't like the response I got. So when I won that New Canoe Frontier 12, I was kind of still, ticked off about my previous experience and didn't really have a great desire to use it, so I just sold it. But as far as the quality of the New Canoe Frontier 12, a lot of people like them, so I think it's kind of just a hit or miss type thing. Maybe I just got a bad deal, a lemon or something. Wrecked Bean says, what is your biggest catfish? I think it's the one from the video titled Holy Catfish, man. Roger Braswell Jr. And Roger's another one that watches my videos all the time and comments regularly. Thank you, Roger. He says, during the spawn, is it better to work the river channels, creek channel, or the flats? Well, Roger, during the spawn, there ain't really a whole lot that you can do other than hope to get lucky. So what I typically do is I work the main river channel. I start fishing deeper, and I try to get those female blues that have laid their eggs and left, because they'll go and drop their eggs and go out back to the main channel where the males will stay on the nest and actually guard it and protect it. So I'm out there in the main river channel, usually drifted or anchored up somewhere, trying to take advantage of that female bite until the males come off the nest, and then again they're right out there in the main channel too. So those main channel ledges, they are tough to beat during these summer months. W.R. Bruce, have you ever turned your kayak over? Thankfully not. I have never flipped or rolled my kayak yet. I don't want to jinx myself. Gary Renfro, more bank fishing, please. I do plan on doing more bank fishing. It's going to be the fall, though, before that happens. Out here right now, our water levels are up. They're up the summer pool. And so our banks are kind of overgrown. It's either somebody's private property, their backyard that goes down to the river, or it's so grown up and wooded that you can't fish. So once we get into the fall and winter and TVA drops our water levels down, it'll open up a lot more shoreline access for me, and I'll be able to do some more bank fishing again. Here comes some more donations. Let me scroll down through here and see some more people who have super chatted me. I got to scroll down the bottom here to see them because I'm missing people otherwise. Scott Rose, $5. Well, thank you, Scott Rose. I appreciate that donation, man. Carson Moody, $9.99. Thank you, Carson. He says, hey, Justin, I love the channel. What line setup do you think is best for shore fishing channel cats? It's all we really have here. I'd love some tips. Well, Carson, I'd love to answer your question, but again, I'm probably the wrong person to ask about channel cats. If you're fishing from the bank, I would definitely recommend monofilament, just for the abrasion resistance. Braid, you can certainly get smaller diameter lines with the braid and be able to get further casting distance, but the problem you run into with the braid is it is not very abrasion resistant, especially if you're fishing around a lot of rocks. So I like monofilament better when fishing from the bank. As far as the size, it really depends on the size of your channel cats. I'd say probably 20 pounds would be all that you would need. When I'm bank fishing out here for, bigger blue cats and flatheads and stuff, I'm using 40-pound mono. But I'm probably going to switch to 30-pound this year for bank fishing just because 40 is so hard to break off. I definitely need to be able to break off a little easier when I get hung. But, yeah, I hope that kind of helps you out a little bit, Carson. Again, I'm probably the wrong person to ask about channel cats, but I would assume, 20-pound mono would be sufficient. Unless you're just on really large channel cats, then you may want to go up to 25, 30-pound test. Jerry Crabe, $10, says, love your videos. Don't change what you're doing. Well, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate the nice comment and the donation. Alvy Ward, $10, says, love your videos. Hate I missed you at Kingston Steam Plant. I live 10 minutes from there. Tight lines, my friend. Well, thank you, Alvy. I appreciate the donation. And I need to fish at the steam plant more. I like to go down there in the winter months, which really, it don't really matter, winter, spring, summer, whatever, because they don't get the water hot down there anymore. They stopped doing that a few years ago, but that area down there during the winter months, when we seem to be getting a lot of rain, and they really ramp up the flow with TVA, especially if they're spilling, a lot of those fish seem to move out of the Tennessee River and move up into the clinch to get out of that heavier flow. And I do real well there at the steam plant, not because of the steam plant location, not because the water gets warm or anything, but just because that is kind of the first, I guess you would call, I guess it's a creek that kind of initially ran back in there, but it's a kind of a shallow water bait fish area for those fish to move up into. When they come out of the Tennessee and move up to the clinch, that's kind of the first area that they come to, that they can really move up shallow in those backwater areas. So I think that just kind of setting up right there at the mouth of that where it goes up in their steam plant, that place is gold when they're running a lot of flow. So hopefully I'll see you out there someday. I took my finger off of it here and it started scrolling. Let me find where I'm at again. Wyatt Nagel, give me another donations. Thank you for answering my first question. Well, thank you for Wyatt. I appreciate your next donation there, man. Let's see. I think I'm caught up again here, y'all, with the donations. So let me scroll back up here and knock out some more questions. Gosh, have we already been doing this 33 minutes? There's 581 people in here. Man, I'm a popular guy tonight. Palmetto Cats, Kayak Catfish. How long have you had those cameras? Are they holding up? I've had these cameras for, gosh, one of them I've had, I think, since 2015 or 2016, whenever my first YouTube videos were made. That one, and the other one I got not too long after that, whenever I started doing the videos regularly. So both of them are a few years old, and they're holding up well. They're the old Sony model cameras, the Sony action cams. One of them was a birthday present that was bought new. The other one I bought used on eBay. I had a third one too. It went overboard in an accident I won't talk about. There were a lot of cuss words said that day. But yeah, those cameras, they've done really well for me. Gosh, these comments, I can't even scroll up to the top anymore. I guess I'm getting, well, that's a shame. I can't even go back to the top of the comments. I don't know why that's not working. Oh, well, I've missed a bunch of them, guys. I'm sorry. Galen Johnson, what kayak would you recommend getting? I don't have any recommendations for kayaks because it's such an individual thing. I mean, you've really got to put some time in the seat and figure out if it's a good kayak for you or not, because everybody's personal preferences are so different. Hopefully when this pandemic gets through, you'll be able to have some demo days at the local dealers again. I'm trying to get these comments before they're scrolling off the top of the screen and I can't access them no more. The Bee Whisperer, what's the biggest flathead catfish you've ever caught? Good question, and I honestly don't know. I've caught several that, kind of in that, as far as length goes, kind of 42, 45-inch range. They're all kind of similar weight, but I don't really know that one was any bigger than the other. It'd be hard to determine a personal best. Here's Clint Seeger again. I learned everything I know from you. It's the least I can do. Well, thank you, Clint, and I do appreciate that very large donation that you left me, man. That means a lot. Love watching your channel. Palmetto Cat says, let me know next time you're on Santee Cooper. I'll live here. I'll definitely let you know next time I'm heading that way. Cumberland Fishing and Outdoors says, I live 1 mile from Cordell Hull, but it's worth the hour and a half drive for me to go to Watts Bar. Big cats. Yeah, Watts Bar, I mean, if you're a close drive, it's definitely worth it. Fort Loudon is too. Really, the entire length of the Tennessee River holds big cats. There's not, I mean, once you get down Alabama, Wheeler and Wilson, those are probably the best two reservoirs on the Tennessee River, but they all have big cats. Hobie needs to team with you and get us a discount code. William has said that. Yeah, that'd be nice. Hobie's proud of every product they put out. I wish I could get a discount of some kind. I'm probably going to be switching kayaks here soon. I've got another one that's coming to me. I'll talk more about that. This pandemic slowed everything down. So I don't know when I'm going to get that kayak, but I definitely will be getting another one here soon. Chris Drury says, those gulp minnows, you got me on those and they kill it for me. Thank you. I'm glad they're working out for you, Chris. Those gulp minnows, man, they catch everything. Awesome bait. MC says, I cannot afford for my comments to be read. Well, I thank you for the comment period. You don't have to donate. I'm getting so many donations tonight. It's hard for me to keep up with those and everybody else. Vance Wilms. Justin, I love watching your episodes. I've got a lot of tips. I've caught 107 catfish this year. Thank you for excitement in your episodes. Well, thank you, Vance, and I hope you get 108 real soon. Man, 107 catfish, that's a lot. Farron Maston, you're my #1 videos to watch. I watch Dave and Dieter. I watch a lot of Catfish Dave, too. He's a friend of mine. I enjoy his videos. Joe Garcia, do you fish with Catfish Dave? I have been on the water out there when he's been out there, and I've ran into him while he's fishing on the bank, but it's hard for me and him to fish together because he's in a boat now and I'm in a kayak, and even if we were on the bank together, it's hard to have two people fishing the bank and not cross each other's lines and get in each other's way and stuff. But, Catfish Dave, he's a good guy. I recommend his videos. EC Trucking, I'd like to see you and Richard Jean catfishing and crappie fishing together. That'd be awesome. I reached out to Richard Jean last year, never heard back from him. He's big time now, man. Richard Jean, his channel has exploded. He's not going to be interested in fishing with a small timer like me. Crazy Assault. What do you think about the stretch of the Tennessee River in front of Carl Cowan Park? That's a real good area right there. A real good area. That ledge right there along Carl Cowan, right there at the mouth of that comes out right there in front of Carl Cowan, and the next creek down, that's gold right there, man. Gold for catfish. Richard Hardwick, how long does the spawn last and when does it end? A few weeks, lasts a few weeks, and usually here about mid to late July, most of the stragglers have finished up on my section of the river. The farther south you go, obviously, the quicker they're going to start spawning, so they'll finish up sooner than what we do here. Ham sandwich, what's the biggest bass you've caught catfishing? I've caught a lot of strappers. I don't know that I've ever measured them to find out the biggest, though. I caught one largemouth last year on a piece of cut bait also. It was a fun experience. Let's see. Let me find some more questions I haven't answered here. Jess King, is it possible the cats are still on the beds and not biting at all? I'm just north of you on the Clinch in Granger County. You'll find some fish that will bite year-round. You get a lot of small fish this time of year, but your bigger male fish, about half of your population of the trophy cats, are probably still on the beds here at this point in time. Charlie Knight, love your videos. I've learned a lot from you personally, and I thank you. Sorry I haven't got to watch as much, but I'm glad to see you today. Hey, Charlie, I understand, man. Everybody's got a lot going on. It's hard to keep up with everybody's videos, especially I've been cranking out 2 and 3 a week, so I don't know how anybody can sit through that many. Provided Joker, how long do you move to another spot if the cats aren't biting? I've mostly been sitting on the same spot, man, when I'm anchor fishing, just waiting on them to come to me. That's really worked out for me in the last year or so. Shallow Creek 615, have you ever thought about getting a small John boat? Yeah, I've owned several boats throughout my life, but I really like this kayak fishing. So as long as I'm physically able to continue to fish out of a kayak, I'm probably going to continue to do that. Fishing Impossible, what depth do you usually fish? It varies, but usually 30 to 40 feet deep is where I spend most of my time. Shane Hatley, you participating in the July month-long? No, I won't be doing any more of those, Shane. My time with that group is up. Cody Gump, have you ever catfished Virginia? Any tips? No, I haven't made it to Virginia yet, man. I hope to get up there someday. I've been up there for work and just for travel, but I've never done any fishing up there. David Knight saying, hey, from southeast Kansas, we grow bigger channel cat over here. Yeah, man, you all have got some big channel cats out there. I might actually like catching some channel cats if I could get on them as big as what y'all got. Curtis Hostetler, when do you leave drag tight for flathead versus bait runner? I leave my drags tightened down all the time unless I'm on the bank. That's the only time that I leave my bait clicker engaged. Let me scroll down here, y'all. I think I got some more donations. I definitely do not want to miss any of those people. Not that I don't value every comment. I promise you I do. But if somebody's giving me money, absolutely want to make sure I don't miss anybody. I hope I haven't missed anybody so far. Marco Hinton, $5. While catfishing, have you ever caught freshwater drum? Yes, Marco, thank you for the donation. Yeah, I have caught a few drum just by accident. Most of the time, them drum, the mouth, even the big ones, have such a small mouth. It's hard for them to get my hooks in their mouth. But I have caught a few by accident, and I catch quite a few of them when I'm ultralight fishing, just using the jigs and gulp minnows. I get quite a few drum doing that. Bill Jenham, $5. He says, my wife and I really enjoy watching your channel. What kind of rig do you recommend when catfishing from the shore? Well, thank you, Bill, for the donation. The rig I use when fishing from the shore is a Carolina rig. Now, I did get some advice on that was really good advice. And I was told to shorten my leader, and that would help get longer casts, keep from slinging the bait off, stuff like that. So I did shorten my leaders to just 4 or 6 inches long there when I'm fishing from the shore, and that's kind of been the #1 rig for me. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with that. I may play around with the knocker rig some this year, just because it is a bottom fishing rig used in salt water, and I've had good success with that while I've been drifting. But I may try that out here this fall when I start doing some more bank fishing. But definitely, you can't go wrong with Carolina rig. Coach Shane, he's another one that watches all the time and always comments. He says, I've been watching over a year now and still can't get over guiding the line into the spool with your thumb. Do a lot of people do that? Well, Shane, that's just because these new Daiwa reels I switched to are non-level wind. So you have to use your thumb to guide it on. But once you get into the habit of doing it, it's just second nature, man. It's just you just get so used to it. Even when I'm using a level wind reel, I catch myself using my thumb to guide it on the spool. So you adapt to it very quickly. Fishing with Billy, he says, I hear there's a carbon fiber kayak coming out soon by Jackson. Man, that would be awesome if there was, just to have a lightweight option. Native had a kayak a few years ago called the Tegris. It was the Native Ultimate Tegris model. And that thing was super expensive. It was like $2,000, but it was 30-something pounds, if memory serves me. I mean, and that would be real nice in this day and age of these 150-pound plus kayaks. It would be really nice to have a lightweight kayak. RRC Fishing, today is my birthday. Well, you know what? Happy birthday, sir. Or madam. I don't know if you're male or female. I shouldn't be assuming genders here in 2020. That'll get me in trouble, but happy birthday. Gosh, let me find some more questions here. Matt Keene, what's up? Getting my poles ready right now, going to the lake. Well, good luck to you. I hope you catch some big fish tonight. It's storming here. I heard it thundering right there. If for some reason I drop off here, it's my powers went out. Hopefully it won't be a problem. Kayak Schwacken, how do you keep your bait alive? Check out my bait tank video, Kayak Schwacken, and that bait tank I've got that is posted a video of a couple months ago. That's the best thing I have found in my kayak for keeping some live baits alive. Uncle Hank says bank fishing at the moment. Well, good luck, Uncle Hank. I hope you get a big one tonight. Vandal01 says, will you divulge what lake you were on when you caught that walleye? Just curious if it was Loudon. I was actually on Watts Bar when I caught that walleye. We've got walleye on Loudon and Watts Bar here, but that was the first one I've ever caught. I don't know how I haven't just accidentally caught one before, but that was the first one, and it was on Watts Bar. John Gaither, why don't you put on scale? Because unless it's in a tournament that weights are being used to determine the winner, I just don't think weighing fish matters. It don't mean anything to me. I'm not going to take the time with it. Twiz Lex, you ever fished over here in Kentucky? I have not. Kentucky's another one of those states that I've worked there. I've passed through it, but I've never done any fishing there. Alex Brandt, what hooks do you use to catch catfish? This year I've been using the Mustad Demon Circles in the 10-aught size, and I really like those hooks a lot. They work excellent for blues and flatheads. I like the Team Catfish hooks. They're great for blues, but I've noticed with the Mustad Demon Circles, I'm getting better hookups with the flatheads. So I've definitely got a lot of confidence in those hooks, and they're pretty good value too. You can find them, and I believe they're coming a 20 or 25 pack, and you can get them a pretty good price compared to some hooks on the market. Oh, here's another. I've missed some donations again here, y'all. Let me scroll up here and make sure I don't miss any of them. James Moore, hey Justin, I love your channel. Just got into using cut bait because of you. What size circle hooks would be good for cut bluegill? James, thank you for the donation. As far as what size circle hooks, I would, with cut baits, you can get by using a lot bigger hooks. You watch my videos, you see the size of the dinks I catch them. There's a lot of 1, 2, 3 pound fish I catch on 10-aught size hooks. So I would base your size circle hooks on the size of the fish that you're catching. If you're living on or fishing a body of water that has potential for large fish, I would use a large circle hook. If you're in an area that maybe doesn't have as big a fish, you can, get by with smaller size, maybe a 5-aught, 6-aught, but definitely just match it to the fish and not the size of the bait if you're using cut bait. Now, if you're using live bait, then obviously the smaller circle hooks in that situation is going to keep your baits alive longer. You know, when you put a big 10-aught size, a thicker wire hook through a small bluegill, it's going to kill it pretty quick. So you definitely want smaller hooks for live baits, but for cut bait, it really doesn't matter. Definitely go big if you've got an opportunity for big fish. Ben Pool Performance Auto. Big donation here, $14.99, says, hey man, keep up the great videos and get you a new reel with all your supporters. Well, thank you, Ben Pool Performance Auto. Thank you for the donation. I do need to buy a new reel. I lost one of my Daiwa reels there overboard a few weeks ago, and you can't get them anymore right now. Everybody is sold out of the 35 size, which is the size I want. And Amazon's out, everybody's out, just I guess from this pandemic. I mean, all fishing gear, all outdoor stuff is out right now. So hopefully I'll keep my eye on Amazon regularly. Whenever one pops up again, I'm gonna get me another one. Let me find more of these donations here, man. Man, y'all are making my night. I'm eating a good dinner tonight, y'all, with these donations. I'll tell you that. Curtis Hostetler, $5 donation. Thank you, Curtis. When do you leave the drag tight on a boat or kayak for flathead versus leaving the bait runner to let them eat it? We're on the Ohio River in Pittsburgh. I think I answered that question earlier, actually, but Curtis, again, when I'm in the kayak, I leave my drag tightened down. I leave my reels engaged, I should say. And so, because when I'm in the kayak, I'm fishing one of two ways, right? I've either got my bait suspended down under me, and so those fish will eat the bait and load up the rod on themselves there with that circle hook, or I've got my baits cast out, and again, they're going to load up the rod on their own. So I just let the fish hook themselves, basically. Now, when I'm fishing from the bank, because the bites on the bank seem to be less frequent, and I'm obviously in the kayak when a fish hits, whether I'm suspend fishing or cast out or dragging or whatever, when a fish hits, you know it, because you just feel it throughout the whole kayak. But when you're fishing on the bank, obviously I'm not going to be able to feel that bite. So having the clicker engaged and just letting it kind of free spool, if you will, with that clicker noise, that helps me know that I've got a bite when I'm fishing on the bank. So hopefully that answers your question there. And again, Curtis, I thank you for the donation. Let me find, gosh, I know I'm missing a lot of these comments, y'all. There's so many of them. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to all of them. CJRB12, thank you for the donation. He says, would you ever fish in Kentucky? I hope to make it up there at some point. Yeah, I hope to get there at some point in time. Brandon Ormandy, $30. Thank you, Brandon. Learn a lot from you, Justin. Always a pleasure to see new kayak catfish video, my notifications. Thank you for sharing it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate you watching, and thank you for the donation and the nice comment and everything, man. It means a lot. Motorcycle is life. Left me a donation here. How important is topography when searching catfish? I'm going to tell you, topography, the contour maps, everything for me. I'm a huge fan of Buck Perry and his teachings. Buck Perry was a bass fisherman, but he's the godfather of structure fishing and using the contours to understand how fish are going to move and relate to structure. And when I started following his teachings, my catch rates went straight up. Not only for numbers of fish, but big fish too. When you're seeing me, especially like my anchor fishing videos over the last year, when you're seeing me position myself where I am when I'm discussing that in the videos, that is 100% Buck Perry. I am trying to put myself in that exact spot that fish are going to make contact with a particular structure. And when I'm drifting, I'm following break lines. I'm right on those fish highways there. So to answer your question, how important is topography? It is everything to me. Christopher Strange, $10. Thank you, Christopher. Thanks for taking the time to reply to my message about advice on which boat ramp and bait shop to use a few months ago. Well, you're welcome, Christopher. I'm glad you got me when I did. That's one of the things, unfortunately, I've kind of had to cut back on the private messages and stuff like that, just because I get so many. I can't be travel agent for everybody, so I can't be going through and getting campground addresses and boat ramp addresses and all that for everybody. But I'm glad it worked out for you, and I appreciate your donation. Ghost Squad Fishing left me another $2. Where can I private if possible. Just need the pointers. Really, again, man, I don't do private messages anymore. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to be able to do all that. Unfortunately, I apologize. But if you've got some questions you want me to answer, certainly leave them on here, and I'll try to get to them. Let me find some more of them on here. You all have spent a fortune on me tonight. Country Boys and Catfish. Let me $5. Thank you. What advice can you give for someone just starting a YouTube channel? Just started one not long ago. I hope to be half as good as you. First off, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to do something else first. You can maybe see here it's starting to storm and pour down rain. Me and the dog's about to get here off the back porch and go inside. Bear with me. Come on in here, Roscoe. Get in the house. We're going to get wet. Where'd that comment go? Country Boys and Catfish. Let me get some lights on in here, and then y'all won't be able to see me. What advice can you give someone just starting a YouTube channel? Well, the best advice I could give is to, if you're starting a fishing channel, which I would assume you're probably doing, is catch fish. First off, I mean, a lot of these YouTube channels, these fishing channels, they just want to vlog. They want to talk and give you tips and whatnot and tell you how to tie knots and blah, 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 blah. And that's good. That stuff is important. People need to know that stuff. But in order for people to care about those tips, you got to have some credibility. They gotta know who you are and know that you catch fish and know that what you say, has some backing behind it. So I would recommend going out there, catching fish, telling people how you're catching them, where you're catching them, the bait you're using, kind of explain all that in your videos, and just crank out the content, man. If you're not able to put out at least one video a week, you're going to have a hard time getting a channel off the ground, because people, right now I'm putting out 3 videos a week and I've still got people clamoring for more, and it's all I can do to keep that pace. But most of these successful fishing channels seem to put out at least 2 or 3 videos a week. So that would be the best advice I could give you, is catch fish in your videos, crank out the content, and be real. If you're somebody who is, really animated and excited in your videos, well, do that. Be that, because that's you. If you're somebody like me and you're kind of laid back and kind of monotone, I guess, well, that's okay too. There's an audience for you no matter what kind of personality you have. It's just getting your content in front of that audience. And in order to do that, you just got to keep cranking it out until people find it. So best of luck with your channel, and thank you for the donation. Jesse Hudson left me $1.99. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate the donation. Jason Pearson left me $1. Thank you, Jason. Here's Jesse Hudson, $14.99. Thank you. Says, I love your videos, and I've tried your method of fishing, drifting with the line suspended off the bottom, but I have been unsuccessful. Any tips? Well, first thing, obviously I don't know where you're fishing at, or I'm not able to actually see what you're doing out there, but the first thing that I would suggest is make sure your baits are close to the bottom. If you've got a graph, make sure you're within that kind of 2 to 3 foot depth there off the bottom. Second thing I would recommend is make sure that you're following the contours. Don't just go out and drift at random. That's another mistake I see people make, is they just go out, drop their lines down, and just start drifting down river. You'll catch some fish doing that, but in order to catch more fish and to catch bigger fish, if you can key in on the break lines, like a lot of the drifting I do, you see me, I get on the deepest break line. I'll get on the main river channel, find where it just starts to come up onto that ledge, and I'll drift that break line all the way downstream there. That helps a lot, because those fish, they kind of use those break lines as highways. That's kind of their sidewalks, if you will. And so if you can drift along those, you're going to come across some fish. So that would be the best advice I could give, is make sure your baits are close to bottom without being on bottom, and follow those contours. James Moore, $5. Man, I think you gave me a donation a little while ago, James, unless I'm reading the same one twice. Says, thanks for answering my question. Bank fishing here while using a bait clicker hurt while using a circle hook. No, the bait clicker won't hurt. You may miss a few fish. What I have done, at least the limited bank fishing experience I have, what has helped me is I leave my bait clicker on. I got my rods in a rod holder, and when a fish takes off and that clicker starts zinging, I go to my rod, I engage the reel, and then I crank down on that reel handle a few times. And that'll kind of set that circle hook. And so I've been getting better hookups with that, but it's not 100%. And it's certainly not as good a hookups as if I just left my reel engaged and let them hook themselves. So there went the thunder again, y'all. My power may get knocked out here. If I disappear, it's because my internet got knocked out. Let me scroll on down. Here is Carson Moody, $24.99. Thank you, Carson. Just another donation because you're my favorite fishing YouTuber. Well, thank you, Carson. I appreciate you watching. Again, I'm always shocked and amazed that people could watch my videos and like them, because I'm just an average person like the rest of you, and ain't nothing special about me. I just go out and fish and have a good time and do my thing. So the fact that people tune in to watch this, always amazing to me. But thank you for that donation, Carson. P City Smitty gave me a donation, says, love that laugh. Well, thank you for the donation. I tell you, my laugh is about the most polarizing thing on this channel. I get more comments, people either loving it or hating it than anything else. I don't know what it is about my laugh, but it is polarizing to say the least. Tim Fox, $10. He says, nothing to ask. Just wanted to say thank you for posting videos. I'll watch as soon as you post new ones. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate that donation. James I've seen you have commented a lot on social media and these videos, and I don't know how to say your last name, James. I think it's James Tarpening. Left me a donation. Thank you for that donation, sir. I appreciate you watching and following my other social media accounts. Where am I at here? I think I'm caught up with the money again, so let me go back here and we'll pick out some more. We'll pick out some more comments. Let's see here. Let me figure out what. Y'all, I'm sorry. There are so many comments. I cannot figure out for the life of me where I left off the last time. And apparently it only stores so many comments because I can only, like right now, I can scroll up to 6:41 p.m. Anything beyond that, I can't see anymore. I hate that. Dadgone. All right, let me scroll back down through here and see. Palmetto Cats again. Do you think you'll ever go to the Catfish Conference? Maybe. I don't know. The Catfish Conference is held in February, and that's kind of the time of year where I'm really trying to work as much as I can so I can take time off during the warmer months. So it's the timing of it's just bad for me to be able to get away. Aiden Murray, I love your videos. I am 12, and you inspired me to make my own fishing channel. Oh, hey, good luck with your channel, Aiden. I hope it's a big success. Jim Hoffman, do you ever travel to fish for other fish? And what's the one fish you would dream to catch? Sailfish, Jim. That's my #1 bucket list fish. I want to get a sailfish in the kayak. I had planned on going down to Florida a couple years ago when a hurricane come through at the time of my trip and knocked me out. So I didn't get to do that, but that's definitely #1 on my list. Michael Bryant, have you ever thought about tagging the fish you catch? Yeah, Michael, I've thought about it, but I don't have a good way to do it, so I just don't. Mark Beschel, Justin, I look forward to your videos. Love watching and learning how you do it. I definitely can't wait to get my boat on the water and try out some of these techniques on the Mississippi. Well, good luck out there on the Mississippi, Mark. That's another one of those places I hope to make it to someday. Ramiro Gonzalez, do you ever fish for slab bluegill? I do. I don't ever catch any slabs, but I do love some bluegill fishing. That's probably behind the catfish. Bluegill is probably my second favorite fish to catch. Randy Presley, did you talk Chris Souders into a kayak? No, he did that on his own. It's good to see some more catfishermen with the notoriety of Chris getting into kayak fishing, though. It's good for the sport, and glad to see him out there enjoying it. Let's see. Fish forecast. How do you have so many views? You're my inspiration to keep my videos coming out. Man, I don't know how I get this many views. I don't know. The last couple months, I've gotten over 1 million views per month, and it's mind-boggling. Where am I at here? Michael Bryant says, can you shut that rooster up? Well, I've come indoors now, so maybe we won't have to listen to that old rooster. The neighbor girl down here, she's got a rooster, and other neighbors across the street's got some chickens too. Glenn Webster, do you ever use white perch for catfish bait? I don't here in Tennessee, just because we don't have any. On my waters here, we don't have them. We got white bass, which is similar. They look similar, but it's a different species, so I don't use those because we don't have them. Ethan Fry, how long have you been fishing for? Most of my life now. So I'm 38 years old now, so too dang long, I guess is the answer to that question. Ross Cordes, do you have much barge traffic on the Tennessee River? I have major issues with Mississippi. Not too bad. I mean, we get some barges, but they're traveling so slow here that it don't put off a lot of wake, so they're not really a problem here where I'm at. Chip Trueblood, great videos as always. What's the biggest cut bait you use? I have several 16-inch gizzard shad I'd like to use. Man, I try all different sizes, especially here these summer months right now. There ain't a piece of cut bait that's too big right now. These fish, their metabolism's high, and these fish that are coming off the beds, you can't use a bait that's too big. Mark Reeves, what's the largest gar you have caught while catfishing? I don't know that I've really caught any big gar while catfishing. I got some. I used to be into bow fishing back in the day, and I got some bigger ones doing that. But I kind of got out of the whole bow fishing thing. It's not really my thing anymore. But I really don't catch a whole lot of gar or get a whole lot of gar action when I'm catfishing because generally I'm fishing really deep, and those seem to be a problem more in the shallows. Cody Lee, what's the best way to locate cats in large lakes without a fish finder, or is it a must-have? Really, you don't need a fish finder so much to locate fish as you need a good lake map. And, obviously having a fish finder will help you be able to find those exact spots on that particular structure. Something like Navionics, they've got that phone app that's good in some places and not good in others. Out here where I fish, the Navionics app is very accurate, but some places it's not. But if you can get you a good lake map and kind of put yourself in positions like on the end of a point or a creek mouth or right on that deepest break line of a main channel ledge or off the edge of a flat, those places like that will put you in a position to be able to catch some fish. Gosh, let me see. I think I got some more donations here. I definitely don't want to miss any of those. Let me just make sure. Sorry, y'all. This has been a disaster tonight as far as me being able to get to a bunch of comments. I know I'm missing a ton of them. Nick Glenn, I love your videos. Taught me a lot of tips for bigger fish. Keep catching, man. Thank you so much, Nick, and thank you for that donation. Blue Collar Collective, we need a kayak catfish hat. Oh, thank you for the donation. Teespring, I'm terrible with this stuff about making clothes and whatnot. I'm not into this computer stuff. And Teespring, I think YouTube either owns them or they're partnered with them. That's how I'm able to get those shirts and stuff down in the what do you call it, video box there, video description box. But as far as getting that stuff on the hats and positioned properly and some of the other merchandise they offer, I've struggled with that. So hopefully I'll have some hats eventually, though. I appreciate your interest in them. Palmetto Cats again. Chris Souders will be on my show tonight. Well, hey, Palmetto Cats, I hope you have a good show there with Chris, and you all should tune into that. Chris Souders is a excellent fisherman, excellent cat fisherman. He's got the TV show right now. I believe it's called Catfish Crazy. And that show, it's been a good show, and I'm glad to see. We've had bass fishing TV shows for as long as my entire life, and even longer. It is nice to see a catfishing show coming out on the regular now. So Chris is doing a fantastic job with that, and I'm sure he'll do an excellent job on Palmetto Cats podcast tonight. So y'all tune in to see that. Brandon Johnson, $20 donation, says, thanks for sharing your knowledge, bro. Getting decal for my truck that says Skipjack Body Section. Well, thank you, Brandon. And I do say Skipjack Body Section a lot. Sometimes I'm editing my videos. I catch myself saying, body section, or I say guys or y'all a lot too. And I'm like, gosh, how do people listen to this crap? Demon Unlocked, $2. Thank you for that donation. I wish you put a comment there. I'd have answered whatever question you have. Rob Wixom caught a gar and a cast net yesterday. Wow, what a mess that turned out to be. I bet I have gotten a few in the cast net too. You get them teeth wrapped up in your cast net, you have a mess to figure out. Let's see. Demon Unlocked left another donation. Thank you. What size? GR Dre. What size mono do you use? Right now, I'm using 40-pound mono for my main line and 80-pound leaders. But when I go back to bank fishing this fall, I'm probably going to go to 30-pound just so I can break off a little easier when I get snagged. Margaret Mallet says, my grandson just said, Mama, you watch Kayak Catfish. That's awesome. That's pretty cool that your grandkids know who I am. Let's see. Let me find some more questions here. Gosh, I've been doing this 71 minutes here, y'all. We're going to have to wrap this up soon, even though I know I've missed a ton of comments and a ton of questions. I hate that. This is supposed to be a way for me to be able to interact with everybody. And unfortunately, I've just missed so many tonight. Y'all have been so generous, though, with your donations. That's a few $100s I've made tonight in donations, and that's amazing. I'm so thankful to you all. I hope nobody is taking money away that they absolutely need to give to me, because I appreciate this, but I don't want you all taking money that you need for bills or food or for your kids or anything else to give to me. Coach Shane says, extremely grateful for all the knowledge. I look forward to ever upload, but my phone is about to die and wife is giving me the stink eye. Well, Coach Shane, I thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Max Abel, I just got into catfishing and my thumbs are torn up from the fish biting down on me. Is there anything I can do to help with that? Get you some gloves, Max. That's what I use. I use them. They're just a garden glove from Walmart. They're rubber on the palm side and cloth on the back. Them fish will still clamp down on your hand, but it'll keep from getting your hands so tore up. And, a lot of these guys, these old catfishermen, they walk around with them scars on their knuckles and scrapes and stuff like it's some kind of badge of honor. They think their wiener's a little bigger because they got their knuckles skinned up. And I think that's stupid. Get you some dang gloves when you handle these fish. That'll keep your hands from getting torn up. Joseph Brown, new to the channel, do you drift fish ledges year-round or mostly during the spawn? You can drift year-round, man. It's a year-round technique. Now, I will say, typically, my best production as far as size and numbers of fish when drifting happens when the water's warmer. 55 to 58 degrees and up to the warmer temperatures, that's when I do my best. Once you get into the mid-50s and under, that drift bite slows down a lot, and I think anchor fishing is more the way to go. But, drifting year-round technique depending on your water temps. Speedball. Do you eat some of the catfish you catch? No, everything's contaminated around here, man. It ain't safe to eat anything. Brent Smith, is there good catfishing to be had below Lake Douglas on the Tennessee River? Douglas is one of those places that's, Undoubtedly, there's some big catfish in there, but as far as the quantity of those big fish, you're really better off driving a little ways and getting down on, down on Fort Loudon and Watts Bar if you're in that area. Just your odds of catching a big one's going to go up tremendously. It's kind of the same thing. I live over here close to Melton Hill, and Melton Hill's the same way. There's some big fish in there. I've caught some big cats out of there, but not nearly as frequently as what you do on Loudon or Watts Bar. Demon Unlock says, give Jay Bird a shout out, please. Well, Jay Bird, there is your shout out. Roger Braswell says, best Justin quote ever. That bluegill's had a rough morning. Yeah, them bluegill, man, if I'm using them for bait, they're having a bad day. That's for sure. Clint Payne, did you use gulp minnows last weekend? By God, as a matter of fact, I did, Clint. I did use them gulp minnows in that bass tournament last weekend. I got, that video is going to come out on Monday at 10 a.m. But I fished a little bass tournament, the 10 cat event on Melton Hill, and I used them gulp minnows all day long and ended up in 4th place with them things. Mike Toby says, I like your video. You're a real down-to-earth guy. Keep on fishing. Well, thank you, Mike. Ramiro Gonzalez, do you ever fish for slab catfish? Well, I try to every time I go out, man. I just don't always catch them. Larry Moffett, I think I'm saying that right. Hey, Justin, do you prefer offset eyes on circle hooks? I ain't never paid attention enough to know if it makes a difference or not, Larry. To be honest with you, I just don't know. Let me find some more comments here. Let me find a few more questions here before we wrap this up. Brad Laney, can we expect to see a collab with Catfish Dave? Maybe at some point. Like I said, it's hard for me and him to fish together, just fishing how we do. We're kind of getting each other's ways and stuff like that. But hopefully me and him will be able to do something together. I wouldn't mind even if it's just me and him getting together one night and doing something like this, just doing a live stream together where me and him could answer questions that, from our mutual audience members. That would be a good time. Might be helpful to some people. Doug Zirkle, I'm trying to watch your videos, but YouTube commercials in the middle of your vids kicks me out. Yeah, I don't know what would be causing that, Doug. I mean, it sounds like it's a problem with your app there. You might need to update your app. I do have commercials in my videos, man. I see people griping and complaining about the commercials in these videos, and I'll tell you straight up, they ain't going nowhere. These videos take a lot of time. A lot of hassle to produce. I burn every good fishing spot I have to the ground. So those commercials, they generate ad revenue and makes it worthwhile to sacrifice the amount of time I do and burn all these fishing spots to the ground, like I said. So they're going to stay in there. Cynthia Hudson, do you crappie fish? I do. I don't do enough of it, and I'm not particularly good at it, except in early spring, when everybody's catching them, but I do like to crappie fish. Randy 2, best advice to locate better quality fish. Deep structure, man. If you're looking for better quality fish deep structure. Your points and creek mouths, those are year-round places, and if they've got some depth to them, kind of sanctuary depths, and of course, deep is going to be relative depending on where you're fishing. Some bodies of water, 10 foot could be deep. Out here, 40 to 60 feet deep. So it kind of depends on where you're at, but fish the deepest structure you can find, and that's going to help you improve the quality of your fish. Enjoy your videos. Have you ever caught carp on kayak? That is from Lonnie Payne. Yeah, I've caught a few carp. Catch them by accident sometimes when I'm ultralight fishing, but I don't ever go out and just specifically do carp fishing. When I haven't done any good. Done some of it. Gosh, I take that back. I lied because I have done some of it. In our little fishing league we had there a few years ago, I did some carp fishing, but I didn't do no good. And I do need to do some more of it, though. It's been on the to-do list. But it's just one of them things. I've got so many things on the to-do list. What do you sacrifice to get to it, But But yeah, I catch them sometimes while I'm ultralight fishing. They will hit those jigs and gulp minnows, believe it or not. James tarpening got big flat on while listening to the live. Well, that's awesome, James, man. Glad you caught that big flathead nut. Jay Whitson, how do you feel about Team Catfish hooks? Oh, they're great hooks. I used them. When did I switch to the Demon Circles? I think this year, last year. But before that, I had used the Team Catfish hooks for a good while, and I really liked them. I switched from the Gamakatsu hooks to the Team Catfish, and noticed a big increase in the amount of hookups. So those Team Catfish hooks they're good quality. Colin Lanigan, have you ever thought about trying to get your own gear brand? No, I mean I don't think there'd be enough interest in it for me to have a real or a gear brand. I don't think I'd be able to sell enough to make it worthwhile. Wayne Burnett Outdoors, going to get you another reel with this money. Yeah, it's on the to-do list as soon as I find one, man, in the right size. It's just hard to find right now. Jonathan Layton Prophet, I'm a big fan of you. Well, thank you. Appreciate you watching. Doc in a Box 55. Hi, Justin from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Really enjoy your videos. I'm coming out your way. October fishing Watts Bar in Fort Loudon. How's the availability of skipjack in the fall? Well, good luck on your trip, and thanks for watching the videos. Skipjack, kind of hit or miss. It's better in the fall than it is right now, that's for sure. You'll find them back in the backwaters and the creeks in the fall, but they can be hard to find. You just kind of gotta put some time in. But hit those backwaters, do some trolling with spoons and jigs, and hopefully you'll get on some for your trip. See here. Let me just make sure I ain't missed no more. We've been on here 81 minutes. I'm gonna have to get off here soon, guys. But I want to make sure I ain't missed nobody. Let's give me some money. Here is Zane Likes Fishing. Gave me $24.99. We enjoy watching your videos and learn a lot. Keep up the good videos. Well, thank you, Zane Likes Fishing. Thank you for the donation, and thank you for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. Colin Lanigan gave me $5. Thank you, Colin. Appreciate that. Colin Lanigan again, $5. Have you ever thought about getting? Well, heck, Colin, I didn't realize you had left me that question there as a super chat. I answered that up top. I didn't realize it, but thank you for the donation. Let me just make sure. I'm going to have to get off here soon, guys, but I want to make sure I haven't missed. Here's one from Matt C, $4.99. Thank you, Matt. It says, any advice for drifting, suspending over rock piles? I keep snagging and killing bluegill on Carolina rigs over rocks. Different rig I could try. Well, Matt, I assume when you're talking about rock piles, you're talking about the depth changing. Sometimes when you get on them rock piles, you'll be drifting along at one depth, and all of a sudden it'll shoot up a whole lot, and then you get your bait, you get your rig snagged. What I would recommend in that situation, first off, if you don't have a graph on your kayak or boat or whatever, get you a graph. That way you can closely monitor it. But the other thing I would recommend is maybe try out the knocker rig. And I've got some videos on my channel about the knocker rig, kind of going over what it is and how to set it up and all that. But that knocker rig, your sinker sets down on top of the hook. So when you do get snagged, you're going to get it free a lot more frequently, because when you're popping your line up and down with the Carolina rig, obviously you got your leader there in between your sinker and your hook. So your sinker, it's not hitting on the snag. It's hitting all around the snag, but it's not necessarily hitting on it. With the knocker rig and your sinker right on top of the hook, when you're popping your line up and down when it's snagged, your sinker is hitting on the hook, and a lot of times that will help knock it free. So definitely try that and see if that don't help with your snags. As far as killing the bluegill, you probably just need to downsize your hooks or get a thinner wire hook. That'll keep your bluegill alive a little longer. And thank you again, Matt C, for the donation. Catfishing with Steve-O, $9.99. Thank you, Catfishing with Steve-O. Says, thank you for sharing with us tonight. Love your channel. I've learned so much watching you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it, bro. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching and the donation. It is greatly appreciated. Teddy Mitchell, $10, says, we recently met you at LC Park, White Boat. We love your videos. We have caught several catfish thanks to your teaching. Thanks. Well, thank you, Teddy. Thank you for the donation, and it was nice meeting you. I remember meeting you out there that day. I've met so many people out here just, launching my kayak or out on the water. It's always amazing when people recognize me out there. It's just, I'm just, like I said, I'm just an average, regular person like anybody else. So when people come walking up, to want to shake my hand or get a picture or whatever, it's just, it's humbling. It's very humbling. Let's see. Zachary Johnson, $6, says, love your videos, man. Been doing my own kayak fishing and using your tips. Thank you, Zachary. Thank you for the donation, and I hope you catch a monster in your kayak. I'm glad to hear that you're out there doing some kayak fishing. Wish more people would get into it. It's a fun way to catch them. It's a good time. Let me get a few more questions here. Michael Phillips, are you going to do a blooper video? I probably will at some point. It's one of those time-consuming things, and I probably need to get a few more bloopers before I do it. Usually when I have a blooper, it's not on film. Like that day when I was fishing with Panfish Bill, and I slipped and busted my hind end on the dock. Didn't get that on film, unfortunately. Richard Crowa, what's the strangest thing you have used for bait? I don't really use strange stuff for bait, man. I mostly stick with fresh fish. I mean, in my younger days, I used things like chicken livers and chicken gizzards and stuff like that. And I've used some stink baits and prepared baits in the past, but I don't really use strange stuff. I try to stick with fresh fish. That's what's going to catch you the big ones. Kevin Sharp, what happened to the old Abus that you used to use? I actually sold them. When I went to the Daiwa Reels, I sold those Abu Garcias. Hawk Fishing, I'm a big fan and you're my idol. Well, thank you, Hawk Fishing. Zachary Johnson, love your videos, man. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, Zachary. Thomas. Zachary, I think you just gave me a donation a little while ago. I'm seeing the same comments. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or not. I don't know how to do all this live. I'm going to get better at this live stream stuff, guys. I promise. JC, appreciate you being so humble from Georgia. Enjoy it, man. Well, thank you, JC. Chris Drury says you're going to be on here all night at this rate. Not a bad thing. I know, Chris. I had planned on being off here sooner than this, but I didn't realize the amount of attention that this thing was going to generate tonight. I think we still got 473 people in this chat box right now. So I want to get to as many of these questions as possible. I know I've mostly done questions tonight of people who have given me donations, and I definitely want to answer those people's questions if they're giving me money, but I also want to get to some other people too. I don't want people to feel like they have to give me money in order to be seen or anything like that. I don't want people feeling that way. Richard Long, have you ever considered growing a beard? Catfish hit better when you have a beard. Man, if I tried growing a beard, I'd look like one of these Amish people. I'd have little splotches. I'd look like I have the mange or something because it wouldn't all fill in. It'd be silly looking. Christopher Julian, very informative channel with great tips. Thank you, Christopher. Lonnie Payne, what kind of high-vis line is it that you use? I'm just using Trilene Big Game. Get it at the Walmart there. You used to be able to get it at Walmart before the pandemic. Alan Johnson says, J&H Tackle has your Daiwa a Seagate 35. Thanks, Alan. I'll look them up on there. The reason I had bought on Amazon to begin with is that they're cheaper. Some of these other places had them for like $150, but they were $131 on Amazon, so it saved $20 to buy them on there. But for whatever reason, Amazon just can't get them in right now, I guess, with all the pandemic and stuff going on. Braden says, have you ever fished pay lakes? No, Braden, that ain't something that I recommend or promote at all. I'm 100% against pay lakes. Richard Long says, what's your favorite live bait? I'm not really a live bait guy, but probably white bass, I guess, just because they kick so hard and they stay on the hook. They're a tough bait, and they will just get down there and fight that hook all day and night. And I've caught some good fish on the live white bass. It's a lot easier to keep them alive now But I got this bait tank with the pump. You know, in order to use them before, I kind of had to just catch them the day I was fishing and try to keep them alive till I got where I was going. But this bait tank allows me to keep them alive for 2 or 3 days before I get out there and actually need to use them. Mike Whiteman says, you do a great job with narration and certainly put quality fish in the boat. Well, thank you, Mike. Bay Yakin just got into kayak fishing. You helped me a lot. Well, thank you. Glad you're taking up kayak fishing. Sarah Sullivan, do you have a betta fish? I do not. I assume it's like an aquarium fish. I ain't got no aquarium. Cynthia Hudson, can my son Chevy get a shout out? Chevy, there's your shout out, buddy. Thanks for watching. Lake Fork Guide, see if you can talk Catfish Dave into making some guitar playing videos. Man, he needs to. He needs to be on all those videos he posts on Facebook. He needs to be doing that on YouTube. People would tune in to see that. He's about the only reason I'm on Facebook anymore, just to watch and see what he has to say on a particular day. Shane Southard, does the fishing almanac influence when you fish? No, I don't use the almanac. I just go when I can, man. Katie Hartman 44, when are you getting some Catfish Dave bib overalls? I need to get me some of them overalls. That's the key to catching big fish from the banks, having them overalls. Photon Chief, hey, I'm up here in New York, just starting out trying to catch the dinks. Thank you for your videos. They've been a huge encouragement. Well, good luck to you up there in New York. 1 day a week fishing. What kind of kayak would you recommend for a bigger guy? Really, again, you really need to demo as many as possible to see what's going to work best for you. But your kayaks with your bigger weight capacities, that's going to be your Hobie Pro Angler, your Jackson Big Rig, Old Town Sportsman has a high weight capacity. New canoes, I don't really care for them, but they have a really high weight capacity. Trying to think of some others that have some big weight capacities. I know the Native Titans pedal kayaks, they have a high weight capacity. The Native Ultimate paddle kayaks have a high weight capacity as well. So I definitely check out those. But really, you need to get some seat time in them to see how you're going to feel in it. Make sure it's stable enough for you. Cynthia Hudson, do you use blueback heron? No, we don't have them here. I tried them when I was in Santee Cooper last year, but we don't have them here. John Drummond, $5 donation, says here in comments, people saying J&H Tackle has your exact reel. Thanks, Justin, for all the videos again. Good fishing, Justin. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate the donation and appreciate the info on J&H Tackle. Tim Crutcher gave me $20, y'all. Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate the donation. I have gotten more donations tonight than I would have ever imagined. It means a lot, y'all. It truly does. James Tarpening says there's probably a lot of swearing in the blooper reel. Buddy, that's the truth. That's why I like my normal edited videos versus this live stream stuff, because I can edit that stuff out. Chezzy J, are you going to make a shade covering for your kayak camera so the heat doesn't switch it off? No, Chezzy, I'll tell you what I've done this year to avoid my cameras overheating is I just don't go out in the heat. That's the easiest way to avoid that problem, is just go out early mornings or at night, and then my cameras won't overheat. So that's the way to avoid that, having to add another accessory. Pursuing the Heartland, great live stream. I enjoyed all the info. Well, thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. Bob Ross, Kayak Catfish Big Fish Outfitters has the dials. Okay. Well, thanks. I may stop by there. That's local to me. I hate paying sales tax, though. I'm cheap like that. I should support these local businesses, but man, I hate paying. Because here in Tennessee, we got like a 9.25% tax. It's pretty ridiculous. Tim Crutcher says, keep after 22 Plinkster. Would love to video both from another angle. Me and him are going to make it happen. Probably going to be the fall when the bite picks up again, but we and him will definitely get together at some point. Darkness says you should fish the Ohio River someday. It's got big ones in it, but there isn't quite as much fishing in it as the Tennessee River. Yeah, I hear the Ohio has been pretty much fished out from the commercial guys, and that's That's a shame. You know, it has the potential to have so many big fish. The fact that it apparently doesn't is it's a real shame. Jason Bennett, tell me why you love Abu Garcia so much. I mean, they're quality reels. But I like my Daiwa reels too. I mean, I'm not really a gear kind of guy. I use what works for me. Bay Yakin says, when fishing in 40 feet of water, the 8-ounce slide sinker's a must. Yeah, those heavier sinkers will help you a lot when you're fishing deep and drifting, just because the wind plays such havoc on you out there, and it'll get your line. You can get a lot of sway in your lines when you're drift fishing if you don't use heavy weights. Eugene E says, what's the entry-level cost of a catfishing kayak? I mean, entry-level, you can get a good quality used kayak, a paddle version for, $500. Keep your eye on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. If you want a pedal kayak, you're obviously going to pay a little more. You're probably going to get, $1,500 and up range for a good used one. But there's a lot of good quality paddle kayaks to be had for, $500 on there. And but again, try to demo them if you can, even if you're buying used. Just try to meet the person at the lake or somewhere where you can get in it and make sure it's going to be something that's suitable for you. Otherwise, if you're not comfortable in it, if it's not stable, if you don't have space for all your gear, well, you're not going to be happy, and you're just going to end up selling it shortly after getting it. So try to get what you want the first time instead of having to take a loss and sell something at a loss or lose money to end up getting what you want later on. I'm fumbling my words around, y'all. I'm getting tired. Need me something to drink. Hadn't planned on going this long. We're at about an hour and a half now here. Don Prater says, since you max out your drag system, how long do they hold up before you get new ones? I've not really had an issue with wearing out the drag, not on my catfishing reels anyway. Now I'll mess them up on my spinning rods, my ultralight ones, but those are just cheap reels. Your better quality drags for your catfishing reels, I mean, I haven't had any issue. And my Abu reels that I had, I think the drag was about 12 pounds. So, that's not a lot of drag on those. So I kept them cinched down. My Daiwa reels, I don't keep them locked all the way down because I think they've got I'm wanting to say 19 or 20 pounds of drag. So I try to keep them about, 12 pounds, 12 to 15 pounds of drag pressure on those. Glenn Martin says, how many people were watching this evening? Too dang many, obviously, because I ain't been able to keep up with all the comments, Glenn. Catfish Dave's here. He's on there. He says, I'm broke. Catfish Dave, I used to be broke, but people have loaded me up with donations tonight. So I'm eating good here when we get this thing done. Photon Chief again, what anchor type do you like? Just heavyweights or grapple anchors? Well, I use two type of anchors, Photon Chief. When I am fishing in current, I use a, what's it called? A slip ring style anchor. And keep a little piece of chain in front of it. And those work really well when I'm in current. But now when I'm in slack water or if I'm fishing in really light current, the prongs from that slip ring anchor, it ain't going to dig in. So I'll use a dumbbell. A 10-pound dumbbell will hold me well. I think my one I've got up there now is like a 15-pound dumbbell. And I just go with that heavier weight of the dumbbell. It's overkill to position a kayak, especially in slack water. But what that does is that will keep a bigger fish from dragging me off, keep me positioned there where I'm at. Because I don't want to, if I catch a big fish, I don't want to get pulled off, anchor. I want to stay there in case he's got some friends with him. So that heavier weight will keep me there in position. But it really don't take a heavy anchor to keep a kayak anchored down. Hiking Mike says, please try trout for bait at least just once. Man, if I could catch them, I would. I ain't never done no trout fishing, but it's on the to-do list. Let me find where I was at here. I think I lost my place again. Dadgummit. Ace of Spades, do you like Big Fish Outfitters? Yeah, it's a real good store. I mean, Big Fish has, if you're here in East Tennessee, they're over there by Mountain Hill Dam. And they don't pay me to say nothing about them or nothing, but they're a really good store. They've got just about anything you would need. So if you're coming in town for a trip or a vacation or whatever, They've got pretty much any supplies you would need as far as fishing gear. They sell live shad. They've got frozen skipjack there, so they can hook you up with your bait. Tell you, they want an arm and a leg for it, by God. Their skipjack there is outrageous, and the shad, I think, is like $2 a piece. So I'd recommend catching your own if possible. But they do have it available for you, which is nice, that they do that. Tim Hunter, I do believe that you can catch catfish in a bathtub. Well, by gosh, if there was catfish in a bathtub, I'd sure try. How many times do you get skunked in a year, says Lyndon Sailor? It happens, man. Not so much this time of year. Just in the warmer months, the metabolism of these fish is so high. Usually I can get some dinks, if nothing else. But during the colder winter months, I do get skunked. It happens. Too dang often, I guess the answer to your question as far as how many times, because one time is too many on getting skunked. Oh, where are we at here? Let me find some more questions. Jake Lane, how about drum for bait? We have tons in Illinois, no skipjack. Maybe you can use some in future videos. Well, Jake, I actually got some videos of me using drum for bait, and I like it. It's a real good bait. I've caught some good fish on drum. Michael Boland, hey, big fan. Have a question. What's the best spinning rod for catfish? Thanks. Honestly, man, I don't know. I don't use spinning rods for catfish. I've used my lighter tackle bait rods sometimes for them, but I've never used a catfish spinning rod. So, unfortunately, I can't answer your question. I'm the wrong person to ask. Bayakin, what are your key camera mounts? So my front camera is a DIY mount I made out of ram ball and PVC. And my chest cam is also a DIY job. I took a ram ball, a ram mount, and attached a piece of PVC there to do that. I also have a Scotty panfish mount that I've used at times on the kayak, just get different shots and stuff. Angel Delgado's being a damn idiot. There's one everywhere. We're going to hide user for channel. There's probably been a whole bunch more jerk-offs tonight that I haven't seen. I try to block them whenever they pick up. I've got a person moderating my comments now too on the normal, just because I can't spend as much time going through all the comments while I'm doing this live stream tonight. So anytime some jerk pops up on there, we just delete and block you as soon as you... It's like that game Whack-A-Mole. You remember that game at Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza back in my day? They had them little toy gophers and you'd whack them with the hammer. That's how I treat these trolls on the comment box. As soon as they pop up, they gone. One strike and you out. Dennis Johnson, do you know Harley Hill? He has a YouTube channel, Catching Catfish in the Ohio River. No, I ain't never heard of him. I'll have to look him up. Or she up, depending on who it is. Joseph Cartret? I've butchered your name. I'm sorry. You ever come to North Carolina and do any fishing? Just picked up kayak fishing and I love it. Glad you're liking kayak fishing. No, I've worked in North Carolina a lot, but I haven't done any fishing over there. Smack Evans, give me $2. Thank you, Smack Evans. Appreciate that. Alexander, do that laugh, Justin. I can't do it on command. Or maybe there was part of it, I guess. Samuel Potter, hey Justin, are you going to make more bank fishing vids? I would like to send you a pic of my PB flat day. Samuel, if you're on Facebook, you can post that on my Kayak Catfish Facebook page there. But I will do some more bank fishing vids this fall. Brad Laney says, can you educate the viewers on the harmful effects of pay lakes, please? Yeah, I'll touch on it a little bit. I mean, I'm certainly no expert, but the problem I got with these pay lakes is that they steal from the public to take them and put them in these ponds. And these fish, you get a big, huge trophy-sized catfish. They can't survive in these small ponds. And so when you look at the condition of these fish that people are catching, these pay lakes, they're in horrible condition when they pull them out. And it pisses me off that these people, they come down here, they go to other bodies of water, like where I fish, for instance, and they catch these huge fish, and they take them up there to sell them to these pay lakes. And that takes opportunities away from me. It takes opportunities away from other anglers out here. And because it takes a long time. I mean, let's be real. These trophy-sized catfish, some of these fish are 20-plus years old. So they can't be just replaced on a whim like that. So when they get stolen from us and transported over state lines to be put in a pond where it's ultimately going to be starved to death and eventually killed for some little fishing derby thing they put on. It just ticks me off. It pisses me off, and I think they ought to be outlawed. So these people that are Pay Lake supporters on my channel, you're barking up the wrong tree. I don't want you here. You ain't welcome here. I don't like you. So that's that. So there's my thoughts on the Pay Lakers, whoever asked me that question. Gosh, I took my thumb off the thing while I was going on that rant, and I lost my place again here, y'all. Joseph Brown, do you prefer a Foley spoon for catching skipjack or a flying grub? Both have their place. And both will catch fish depending on the time, but I probably catch 75, 80% of my skipjack on jigs. Just little white flies and little crappie jigs from Walmart. I just did a video about that here recently and talked about that, but that's my number one bait. But the spoons, I get a lot of skipjack and white bass trolling those spoons. Those spoons are real good for locating where the skipjack are at, and once I find them, I'll key in on them with the jigs. John the Fisherman, do you live near Bill Dance? He could be my neighbor for all I know, man. I don't know where he lives. Let's see. Will Loy, shout out to your favorite Chinese restaurant. Well, I'll tell you something, Will Loy. I'm a big fan of the China King buffet, but they started making fun of me because I go there. I get the Szechuan beef on the lunch special. That's my favorite dish that they provide there. And they started making fun of me out there. They started laughing at me. They started to, oh, there's that guy. You get Szechuan beef. Why don't you order something else? And I probably shouldn't do that. I don't know why I'm talking like that, but that's how they talk. And I don't mean to come across as something racist, by gosh. Somebody will turn that into that. But that's what they were doing and making fun of me, so I stopped going there. So now I'm going to Rice King on Kingston Pike and China Pearl there in Farragut. And they've got really good food too and got some lunch specials. So they are my new favorite Chinese restaurants since China King Buffet started making fun of me out there. Britt Hardy, shout out SC. Well, SC, there's your shout out. You watch and see. Me talking about China King Buffet, somebody's going to paint me as a racist in this world that we're living in these days. You watch and see. I'll get this video pulled off of YouTube. It'll happen. You can't say nothing these day and time. Channel cat Jared, what's the biggest channel cat you've caught? Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't keep track with the channel cats. Dove Lands says, your balance is killer when you pull in them big boys. I just imagine flipping my kayak trying to pull in those donks. Have you ever flipped pulling in? No, I've never flipped or rolled, but I'm fishing out of stable kayaks too, and that makes a big difference. If you're out there in like like one of them cheap Pelican kayaks or Sun Dolphin kayaks, you're going to be in a lot bigger risk of rolling it or flipping it than you are if you're in a big stable fishing kayak. So, Casey Dixon, do you have a problem with fish just eating the gut pocket out of bait? If so, how do you solve this problem? It happens, man. Them dinks will get down there and just shred your baits. It's just one of those things. You can't really do nothing about it. You can just, have to deal with it, replace your baits when you do, or move, try to get away from the dinks. Michael Phillips, would you consider raffling off your Hobie Pro Angler when you get a new kayak? No, I probably ain't going to do no raffle, but it will be for sale, if I end up liking this other new kayak better. Michael Madry, will you ever switch to using a power boat when you get older? Yeah. The day's coming. Well, let's just be real. I can't do this kayak fishing thing forever. But hopefully I got a few more good years left in me. But yeah, I will eventually go back to fishing out of a boat. Let me find some more questions here. We've been out this 108 minutes, looks like. I'm going to have to get off this thing. Here's another donation. Green Eggs and Ham 79. Would love to fish with you anytime. Well, thank you for the donation, sir. I don't do any kind of, I'm not licensed or insured for any kind of guide trips or anything like that. This fishing is just kind of it's my me time. That's when I get out there and get away from people and just do my thing. So I like fishing by myself. But again, I appreciate you watching and I appreciate your donation there. Michael Madry, please post more largemouth bass for bait videos. Boy, that riles some people up, don't it? I get some thumbs down and some intriguing comments on those videos. Let's see. Mark keeps asking the same question. What would you recommend for a 9-foot spinning rod combo under 150? Man, I can only say it so many times. I don't know anything about these spinning rods for catfish, so I'm the wrong person to ask. Clint Seeger, do you edit the channel cats out of your videos or do you not catch them? Yeah, Clint, I usually edit them out if I do get them, just because, I've kind of learned this YouTube thing. Some of my older videos, if I went out and caught 30 fish in a day, I'd put all 30 of them in the video. And those videos just get too long. So generally I'll try to edit out the channel cats and some of the smaller fish just to try to make the flow of the video a little better, if that makes sense. Kelly Walsh, she says, we stayed at an Econo Lodge in Farragut last night on the way back from Kentucky to Virginia. Love watching you. Well, thanks, Kelly. I hope you didn't get bed bugs at the Econo Lodge. No judgment from me. When I'm on the road, I stay at the cheapest place I can get. I'll tell you that. I've stayed at some sketchy places. But that place there, most everywhere in Farragut's a good place. That's a good part of town. There's a lot of rich people in that area. Pat Nikolai, I'm butchering your name, Pat, but you've watched a bunch and commented a bunch, so I want to get to your comment. It says, congratulations on that monster blue that you caught once before with the dot on him. Been fishing every day, either Kingston Steam Plant or Loudon City Park area. Turtles are driving me crazy. Yeah, this time of year, if you're fishing real shallow, them turtles will eat you up. But good luck to you. Hope you get on some big fish out there. Josh Carter, do you have any tournaments you're fishing in anytime soon? Josh, I'm actually doing some bass fishing tournaments right now. I fished one Thursday night. I fished one last weekend. I fished another Thursday night. My friend Eric with TN Bass and TV, he runs a Thursday night tournament trail, a bass fishing tournament trail here on Fort Loudon Reservoir. They hit various boat ramps out there. And I'm probably going to fish it the rest of the year, I think, just because I like Eric. He's a good guy, and him and his girlfriend Holly, they do a real good job with that tournament. So I'll probably go out there and join them some. Let's see. Benny Casillas, do you plan on fishing outside of your home state? Maybe a Colorado video? I'd love to go to Colorado at some point, but I don't know when I'll make it out there, man. Chip Trueblood, have you had any more people trying to steal your videos again? It happens sometimes. I see it occasionally on YouTube, and YouTube's pretty quick to pull them down. Same thing with Instagram. They'll steal your comment or your pictures and your videos on there, and I report them for copyright every time. They're gonna make money off me, by God. They're gonna pay the price. Fishtail says, how can I stop my kayak from swaying back and forth when anchored? I would assume that you're probably, well, I don't know. Fishtails, I don't know if you're fishing in current or if you're in slack water. If you're in current, you can use a drift sock. Now, depending on how much current you have, the size of your kayak, etc., that's going to determine what size drift sock you need. But that will help some of that back and forth sway if you got current. Now, if you don't have current and you're just at the mercy of the boat wake and the wind, there's really nothing you can do to protect that, to stop that sway that you're getting. In that situation, I recommend doing what I do and just suspend your baits under the kayak. That way, when you do get swayed around there in the wind and boat wake, your lines aren't getting all crossed up. They're still right there under you, under the bottom of the kayak. Dove Land, what is your most unexpected catch when going for them cats? Probably that big spoonbill, that paddlefish I got there a couple years ago. I got a video of that thing. Somehow or another, that fish had a treble hook in it. For the people, they get snagged up here below the dams. There's a season for them, like 30 days long. And people snag them below the dams when they're making their runs up there to spawn. And I guess they got broke off on the rocks. So that fish had a huge treble hook in its tail. And I guess he swam across my line, and I ended up getting hook to hook connection with that thing and reeled him in tail first. and landed that dang spoonbill. But that's definitely the most memorable fish I have ever caught. Ohio River Cat, Cat Max bait caster and spinning combos are good value setups. Yeah, I still have one Cat Max reel, an older model, and I had another one too that went overboard. The old style, the gray ones, are really good quality, but these new ones with the white housing, I've had two of them and they've both been garbage. So I'm not going to buy any more of them. But the old ones, the gray ones that they had, those are really good quality. I took my finger off the screen again. Hold on, y'all. Mouth's going dry. I'm parched, y'all. I'm getting a cotton mouth. Don Prater, what's the reason for big wraps with plastic line ties on your fishing rods? I'm assuming you're talking about the foam. That's for flotation if they went overboard. And I could use them there a few weeks ago when I lost that rod and reel overboard. I took them off because I got tired of getting asked about it. And sure as the world, I ended up needing them. Those ones that I was using, the size, they're not going to stop a big heavy rod and reel from sinking, but they will slow the sink rate and give you an extra second or two to grab it. But yeah, I took those off and I was regretting it there a few weeks ago. Joseph Zaleski, how do you figure your sinker weights? Trial and error. Do you have a rule of thumb? I mostly use 8s. And when I'm suspend fishing, I use 8 ounces because those 8-ounce sinkers, from our normal flow rate, which is about a half mile an hour here, 8 ounces will keep my baits down directly into the kayak where I want them to be. So I use those for suspend fishing. When I'm casting, like bank fishing from the bank, I'll use 4s. Those bank fishing rods, those Okuma longitude rods, they're a heavier action rod. So you need that heavier sinker to kind of load up and get the better casting distances. So that's why I went for the 4s on those. Dang it, I lost my spot again here, y'all. There's got to be a better way to do these live streams. I don't know how to keep these comments from strolling until I'm good and ready. Somebody's name I can't pronounce. Zvetov. Hey Justin, great channel. Can you catch skipjack by the dams in the summer months? Yeah, you can. Some dams. Now here, like Fort Loudon's the closest dam to me. Very hit or miss in the summer months there. Melton Hill is another one that's close by. Used to, the population was so good at Melton Hill Dam, I could go there year round, or from spring to fall, I should say, and be able to get skipjack, but it hasn't been like that in a long time. It's just kind of hit or miss now below our dams. Gage, ditto. Do you ever use punch or stink bait? No, I did in my younger days, but I don't anymore. I try to stick with fresh fish. Logan Canales, do you have any tips on fishing the Red River in Louisiana? No, I don't. I've never fished there. I'd go for some deep structure if I was there. I mean, that's the first type of thing I do. Look for the deepest structure I could find. Logan Green says, I fish Loudon, pal. You make it look easy. Keep doing what you're doing. I've been skunked the last few weeks. Well, Logan, man, thanks for watching the videos. I hope you get on them again here soon. Perfect works forever. Is there ever a time when store-bought catfish bait would be better than fresh cut? No, I don't think so. I mean, unless you're just after small fish. If you're after like small eater-sized fish, chicken breast. Man, you can't go wrong with chicken breast. You'll catch a ton of them with it. But if you're after trophy-sized fish, you're always going to be better off with a fresh cut bait or a big live bait, you know. Ronan Z, what's your coldest day or night fishing? I've been out in some 20-degree days, but I don't venture out if it's colder than that. I'm a pansy in the cold weather, y'all. I hate being cold. I rigged me up. I didn't get any videos of it last year because I stunk it up on those particular trips, but I rigged me up a propane heater for my kayak last year. So hopefully I'll get some videos of that this year. Me out there using that thing. I don't know about this, how safe it was for me to be using a propane heater and a plastic kayak, but by gosh, it kept me warm. Cole Kendall, in all 4 seasons, tell us what structures you like and water depths. Does it differ in a lake or river? Well, first off, Cole, my main experience is out here on reservoirs on the Tennessee River, so they can fish like a lake or a river depending on if we have current flow on a particular time or day. As far as what structures and water depths for all 4 seasons, you know, honestly, if I was going to answer that question, I'm going to reword your question here. If I could choose one type of structure to fish out here, and I could only fish that one structure and that one depth year-round, I would choose probably a deep point that's at least 40 feet deep. A deep point that's got some depth to it, you know, 30, 40, 50 feet deep, that leads in, you know, say from a entrance of a creek out to the main channel. That's a year-round type fishing place. I mean, you can go out there 365 days a year and have a chance at catching a monster fish. Another good place, creek mouths. You see me fish a lot of creek mouths. If you set up on a good creek, again, where the mouth of it has gotten some depth, 365 days a year, you got a shot at a big fish. So hopefully that answers your question there. Jonathan Jellick, how many years have you had that life jacket? Too dang many is the answer to that. That thing is faded and stinks. I've actually got another life jacket sitting there on that chair. I'm going to start using soon. The company that's sending me this kayak sent me that life jacket and a paddle too. I'm just waiting to get to kayak before I go through all that whole spiel and go over all that. But like I said, I'll be getting that new kayak here hopefully soon. It's supposed to be end of June, and then with all the pandemic, it's kind of everything's gotten behind. I mean, all these manufacturers, they're just behind on everything. So hopefully we get that soon though. Let me get just a few more questions here, y'all. I've been going at this about 2 hours now. I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon. I hope I'm not taking away from Palmetto Cats. He's interviewing Chris Souders tonight, and I hope I'm not cutting into his time here. Naley Struce is 500 of us here, man. You're not going to keep up with these comments. That's a dang truth, buddy. I can't keep up with nothing tonight. I can barely keep up with all the super chat people. Kenny Kendrick, do you ever use goldfish? No, and I need to. I promised somebody last year that I would, and I never got around to it. Santaner 2011. I caught my first flathead last night. It's 41 inches, and I caught it on a tube. Man, if that's your first flathead, that's a good way to start. That's a whopper, man. Congrats. Tater, how do I keep catfish from stealing my chicken liver? Well, you're going to have a hard time, man. Them chicken livers don't stay on the hook good. You can put them inside pantyhose and then run your hook through the pantyhose. That'll keep them from ripping your baits off a little bit, but they just going to tear them chicken livers to shreds. Walter Downs, what is the largest size flathead that is eatable? Well, I mean, technically you can eat any size flathead, but I wouldn't recommend eating anything more than over 10, 12 pounds. They get beyond that, you know, certainly let them go. But if you're fishing out here where I do on Tennessee River, or at least Fort Loudon and Watts Bar anyway, I wouldn't recommend eating anything out of here just because our contamination levels are so high. Justin Balcom says, what knots do you use? It depends. On my swivels, I use just a clinch knot. On my hooks, I mostly use a snell. At least I do with the Mustad Demon circles that I use now. Now, when I was using the Team Catfish hooks, I actually like the clinch knot a little better than the snell for my leader to my hook knot there. For whatever reason, I just felt like that clinch knot gave me a better hookup. Even though it's a circle hook, I still feel like I got a better hookup with the clinch than I did the snell on that particular hook. But right now with the Mustad Demon circles, it's a snell knot. Michael Madry, What is the most money you have won in a fishing tournament? I guess last year, that national championship tournament, I won, it was a little over $1,000, and I won that kayak. So that's probably the most I've won. The bass tournament last year, Fishing for Soldiers tournament, I finished, what I finished, fourth or fifth place in that, and I think I won 350 cash, and I won a prize from Boondocks, which I sold for like $110. So that's probably my biggest as far as bass tournaments goes. Ron Shimko, do you support Black Lives Matter? Man, I support Black Lives Matters. I support everybody. I think everybody, we're all equal, and everybody needs to have the same opportunities as everybody else. So we ain't gonna get into all that social stuff here on this channel, because I think a lot of people tune into my channel as an escape to all the stuff that they see on the news. But yes, I support everybody having an equal opportunity in this life. But a lot of the stuff going on, all this tearing stuff up and burning buildings and looting and stuff like that, I don't support that and will not support that. Everybody out there works hard. These businesses, yeah, you're tearing up businesses and stuff, but that money comes from somewhere, and typically doo-doo rolls down hills, the old saying goes. So the people that gets affected by it ain't going to be the corporate executives. It's going to be the frontline workers that take that hit from these businesses getting tore up. Let me just make sure I ain't got no more super chat money here. Somebody just left me one. David Dura, $10. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Samsu, something I can't pronounce, is getting blocked because he's being stupid. Margaret Mallett, get something to drink. I am parched. I got the cotton mouth right now. I've been talking for 2 hours. David, thank you for that donation, though, a $10 donation, man. I appreciate you. I wish you'd left a comment or something, or a question or something. I'd love to answer it for you. Well, there's one for him. Really appreciate your videos, so well done. Well, thank you, David. Jack Abrams, I'm moving to D.C. Do you know anything about the Potomac River? Jack, I don't, but Chunky Cat's Fishing fishes up there. And so you might check out his YouTube channel, because he fishes there. He does a lot of live streams on there, so he'd probably be the one to ask. I'm pretty sure it's Potomac River he fishes. Duke Frazier Productions, what would be the best setup for shore fishing and fast current? I've been using a slip sinker right on top of the hook, and I get bites but can't hook them. Fast current's tough when fishing from the bank, because it's gonna push your line and your sinker and hook up against the shore there. If you got weeds, it's gonna throw all them into your line. Yeah, it's tough, man. I try to get out of that heavier flow if you can. Try to get in a slack water area. That'd probably help your cause some. Big List 90. Are pedal kayaks worth the high price? Well, it depends on your budget, really. I'll tell you, going from a paddle kayak to a pedal kayak a few years ago, it expanded my range a lot. It got me out on water, a lot worse water conditions than what I could fish before, so it was worth it to me. But I can't answer that question for you. It's going to come down to your budget and where you're fishing at. Let me just get one or two more here, y'all. I keep saying that. We're at 128 minutes in this thing, so. New School Fishing down here says, I love my Outback. Man, I love my Outback too. I wish I still had it sometimes, but I just got to the point I couldn't comfortably sit in that thing anymore, and had to get rid of it. Hiking Mike's, have you ever caught a channel cat you were proud of? No. I could go the rest of my life and not catch another channel cat. I'd be all right. Let me just say, I think we're about done here, y'all. I've missed a ton of, yeah, I'm done with all these comments, y'all here. I've missed a ton of them tonight, unfortunately. I don't know how many comments I ended up getting, but there has been a ton. I hope I answered everybody who give me the super chat money. Looks like $539 in super chats. Wow. thank you all so much. I mean, thank you. I hope I didn't miss anybody that gave me the super chat money, and I certainly do appreciate all those donations. Everybody else, I hope, hopefully I'll get to your comment again in the future. I know I've missed a ton of people tonight. It's just unfortunate. I could sit on here another 6 hours and not get on everybody's comment, unfortunately. But I'll try to do this again here in the future. I don't know, maybe I'd originally thought maybe every 3 to 6 months, something like that, whatever the demand was, but there clearly is a lot of demand after seeing how many comments I've gotten tonight. So maybe I'll do it a little bit more frequently. But anyway, guys, hope you all are catching some big fish out there. I'm hoping to maybe fish tomorrow if the weather will allow. If not, I'm going to go on Tuesday. But thank you all for tuning in tonight, and I will see you all again here soon. See you.